Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the fan takeaways for the game between the Pies and the Lions at the G. If you want to be a part of this segment moving forward, simply follow pies_footy at Instagram and then check the story out right after the game. Input your fan takeaway and you might have your opinion shared here. This is the first step in triggering amnesia for the game against the Lions, and that's tuning in to the fan takeaways. It's time for all things black and white. And here we are. We're going to use tonight as a way to dissect some opinions, some immediate raw opinions from the fans as always, but use this as a stepping stone in forgetting the game, as we are now already, or should be, counting down towards what is now a do, in my opinion, it's a do or die clash when it comes to top four, and top two still there, of course, but I would hate to go to Adelaide. Would hate to go to Adelaide being 0-2. I feel like this is, I'd say the Richmond, the Brisbane, the Adelaide, the Richmond, the Brisbane, the Hawthorn, the Adelaide, the Melbourne. That's the next, or that is the current objective that the club are using to narrow their focus, and that's securing top two. Isn't it? Ella Andoni, Yasu Andoni from Perth. MD, how are you? Benny, here to face the music. Mate, you're facing the music twice today. You would have had the birthday song sung to you. Now you have to listen to the melancholy music of the game that was yesterday by way of the fan takeaway. So happy birthday, Ben, in the chat, guys. Send your well wishes to Ben in the chat for his birthday. Digsby, hey mate, how are you? Stewie, hi Anthony, saw you at the game last night. Didn't want, mate. You're all right, mate. No stress. If you told me at the game that you're Stuart Harris in the chat, I actually would have also. I would be able to recognize that name. So next time, yeah. Were you in the cheer squad section? Is that where you were sitting? It was actually the first time I've sat near the cheer squad and behind the goals. I thought behind the goals was a bit of a poor view going into it. That was my preconceived notion. But going there and being behind the goals for the first time was actually, it's a different experience, a different stimulus, I would say. It's different to what you get on the wing. The only thing is that you may or may not like is the fact that, especially last night, if you were on the Collingwood end, the Collingwood cheer squad end, you didn't see much footy down that way, because it felt like all the goals were scored on the other end for the most part of the game. Last quarter, Brisbane had it down our way for quite a bit. They didn't score much, I don't think, in the last quarter, but it was there. We wanted to see Collingwood on that side, but we didn't get much of that. You didn't get to watch it, Andoni. Where are you? You're away. What are you up to? You in Bali or something? Oh no, you're in Athens, aren't you? You're in Greece right now, aren't you, Andoni? Nicole, how are you? Hawks have to win. It's do or die, isn't it? Look, RJ, see what the experts are saying about Collingwood right now regarding Ned Long and Darcy Moore. It's the truth. And the truth hurts, unfortunately, which is why some people here, we get a little upset when we mention the skipper's name and his performances. People, there's two camps. There's one camp where people say Darcy Moore. You know what? I'll save it for the fan takeaways because we're going to get into that in a second. We'll get into the fan takeaways in just a minute. Benny survived another year. 10 rows back. Nice, nice. My brother was at the game last night and he said some of the fans were leaving the ground at 3/4 time. I feel sick to the core hearing this. We don't leave simple no matter what happens. Yeah, I'm one of those supporters who will stay to at least the final siren, regardless of the score. I'd like to think, even if we were ever to be in a position that Carlton are in, if I choose to go to one of the games, I'd like to think I'd be there to the end. That's the type of person I think I am. Greece. Yeah, righto. On to the next one. Righto. Here we go. Stewie, I'll be there. Benny's been kind enough to hand us. I hope he doesn't mind telling us, but he's been kind enough to let me and my brother and another friend go to the game against Hawthorn. So I think Ben will be placed in the same position. So if you're there, Stewie, say g'day, mate. No dramas at all. Let's have a look at these fan takeaways, why don't we? Sorry about last night. Mate, Riley, no dramas, man. That's footy. That's life, my brother. Sorry about last night. Guys, these fan takeaway inputs from last night, by far and away, the most amount of entries I've had all season long. How many did we have? I had one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Mate, like just pages. So I will read out the names. Just bear in mind, if you have an entry into this and you don't hear your name, it's because I've just chosen another one that is very similar. Very similar to what you may have entered. They are away seats. No stress, mate. Fuck, whatever it takes to be at the game. Let's go. That's the last one? All right. We'll start from the bottom. Why don't we? Is that the bottom? That's the top. This here is the bottom. Benny Lyons. So from Ben_Lyons17, he says, unfortunately, goodbye, Dean. I'll pair this up with Caleb. Charlie Dean, no good. Bad one-on-one. Indecisive when getting the footy. So we spoke about Charlie Dean at length last night in the post-game show. There are parts, there are pieces to the Charlie Dean conversation. There was going into this week. I was like, all right, well, he played good against Richmond, and then Billy Frampton is had dramas with Fly about maybe not trying hard enough at training or in the VFL game that he played against Frankston, and maybe Fly wanted to make a point that he wasn't just going to walk back into the AFL side, and Fly thought, okay, well, if Charlie's played well, I can use that against Billy Frampton a little bit. So there was that. There was the game where, not for the first time this year, Charlie Dean was getting well beaten by young, unimposing forwards. I know Logan Morris is a, what's the word? Well, he is a burgeoning key forward within his infancy of his career and the trajectory that he's on right now. And there's Darcy Moore there to blame as well. But I'm looking specifically at the one-on-ones in those games and the lack of composure at times, the slipping over. And then we saw another crack in his game, and that was his lack of composure with the ball, which was a bit of a surprise. It was a bit of a surprise because I'd like to think one of Charlie Dean's strong points in his game is his ability to use the ball. And we saw that against Richmond. But when the heat was on against one of the best teams in the league, arguably, probably, people could argue they are the premiership favourite, Dean was left to hang out dry. So I'll get that one out of the way. He's probably not going to play for the club ever again at AFL level. I feel sorry for him. I'll keep saying that because I do, because he's human and he's just trying his best. And then I also have this feeling of to the selection of Charlie Dean. We could have just, hey, you know what we could have done? We could have said, all right, Dean, you had a good game against Richmond. Let's finish on that. Let's finish on that note. We're going to take care of you. You're going to have a good outlook. We're going to have a good outlook on your game against Richmond. People will remember, all right, yes, he did it tough, but at least he finished strong with that game against Richmond. Instead, we're going to remember this game that he played against Brisbane. And it is what it is. It is what it is. The next one is from Christian.Sagrafos. Darcy Moore's inability to take contested marks. And that is something that has always been an issue. Darcy Moore's never really been a big pack mark when in those aerial duels. You look back at some of that footage from last night. I know some people say let me have a look at this first. Rick says, here's the question. What do you expect from a 12-game player who is playing key defense? From what angle are you coming at, Rick? I'm not expecting much from him, but he, as a mature age recruit, he doesn't have that period where he doesn't have that grace period to become what he needs to be at this present time, in crunch time. So if you're coming from the angle of you're suggesting after 50 games of AFL footy, Charlie Dean could be a better key defender, we don't have that time, my friend. If you're coming at the angle of why would they put a 12-game key defender up against the Brisbane Lions, I can understand that. Mate, we had Billy Frampton playing in the reserves. We literally had Billy Frampton playing in the reserves because Fly, assuming Fly just wanted to make a statement against Billy Frampton. Anyways, I return to the next piece of the conversation around Darcy Moore, and that's, pack marks. Just tries to do too much. Maybe, yes, he's trying to compensate and cover Charlie Dean and help Braden Maynard out in the air, but he sometimes tries to do too much, and even one-on-one on the leads, he's always sagging a little bit and needs to find a way to stay on their tail. I'm not sure what the solution is. Darcy, if we look back at this season, there was that six or so week period after the Melbourne King's birthday clash where he was genuinely all-Australian form. And maybe you can put your finger on it and say, well, no Billy Frampton, no Jeremy Howe throughout this period of time is directly correlated with Darcy Moore not playing well. But I'll die on the hill if I'm not willing to cop that. That's what I say about that. So we just need Darcy Moore to get back to that. I want him to do well. And tie this up into the next fan takeaway. From the feelings back _ bring back Big Billy Frampton, mate. I don't know why he didn't play. This was something I was questioning going into the game. I'm not one of those people who will say one thing before the game and then after the game I say something completely contrary to my initial belief. I'll stand by what I've said. And there's a couple fan takeaways that sort of talk about some of the points I was making before the game, and it went a different way, and I stuck to my guns regarding the opinion I had before. So I will highlight that when we get there. What else can we take here? A quick one from Lord Lodi _Tamer. Last time we lost to the Lions, we won the flag. So this is in the match preview. I made that note. I said in 2023 we lost towards the back end of the year and we win the flag. 2024 we beat them at the end of the year. They win the flag. 2025 they beat us. Hopefully we win the flag. That's the pattern. It's a good omen. It's a good omen to. that's a good way to. What's the word? This is a delusion. It's a nice way to delude yourself into this false sense of confidence. Can we call it that? I don't mind that. Caleb says, we also have lost our dare and moving forward. No more slow build up, then go. Got stuck going long down the line too much, which is, we definitely saw that in the fourth quarter as well when we needed to go. No one was willing to take a kick into the corridor. And I feel like I noticed that against Richmond. The reason why I didn't bring it up on the show at all against Richmond was because the weather wasn't favourable to play that type of way. But we've become a very conservative side going around the boundary, and it's worked pretty well for the most part. But what happens at AFL level, teams study you, they know what you're going to do. So what's worked very well for us for the first 3 quarters of the season might not work for us as well going into the final series. So do we have that ability to pivot and make a slight adjustment? That's my question. I need to put my phone on charge before it dies. So what I will do is I'll do this. Hold on, give me a sec, guys. What we'll do is this, huh? Oh, I'm very sore, very stiff today. You know what? An ice bath ensues very, very promptly after this live stream, I believe. So I'd like to see us have that run and carry a little bit more, add that back into our game, have that a little bit more frequently going into the final series, because it just seems like good teams are going to figure us out if we're going long down the line all the time. And if Membry and McStay and Myercheck and Elliott can't compete at times, what can we do to change it? Feel me? McCreary's a huge loss. What happened to our exciting brand of footy? Oh, yeah, it's worked for us, RJ. It has worked for us. Admittedly, it's worked for us. But good teams will figure you out, and you have to adapt. That's footy. How many over the course of the years? The brand that wins you flags always changes. It's never going to be the same. So can we pivot in season? Or are we too far down the rabbit hole of investing in long down the line? What else can we talk about here that I have from the fan takeaways? All right, let's read out this one. Peter WYA. Wait, why isn't this charging? Hey, come on, man. Charge. I'll chuck you in here. Trust. Oh, I'm such an idiot. Guys, I'm such an idiot. I thought my phone was on 3%, yeah, and I was confused because my phone has been charging. It's because I'm looking at screenshots of the fan takeaways, but the screenshots were from earlier where my phone was on 3%. My phone is actually on 30%, so I'm just clearly not switched on. It's a Sunday. I think I'm a little bit sleep deprived from going to sleep at like 2 o'clock after that post-game show. All right, so this is Peter WYF. Shooter vital to what we are doing. Fram's back in for Dean. Houston and Brad's very flat. All right, well, let's unpack the Shooter one. I mean, Shooter just keeps doing what Shooter does, and it's ironic talking about Houston in the same fan takeaway, because I feel like they share similar timelines in their transition away from an interstate club to Collingwood. Big expectations, not meeting them in the first year. I am hoping Houston can turn it around this year, going into the finals. Whereas Shooter, the circumstances were a bit different, weren't they? We were out of the finals. We did not play good footy for the most part of the year. So we're in a position where we will be playing finals. We hopefully will be top 4, maybe top 2. So we do, when time is not on our side and we don't know what happens in 2026, we're hoping Dan Houston can come to the party this year. So that's why I just keep saying we have to persist. We have to persist. Unless you guys have a better idea what you want to put Markov there instead of Houston. Do you want to put... We can't put TJ, he's injured. Can't put Jacob Ryan, he's injured. Is Will Parker the answer? He is more of a liability defensively than what Dan Houston is. Next. There's a lot of don't want to see Dean in a Pies jumper again. Missing Josh.ISER says missing Howe and Frampton badly, so we can talk about Jeremy Howe. I've said it all year and I'll stand by it. Jeremy Howe is our most important defender for many reasons. His decision-making, knowing when to mark it, when to spoil it. If he does spoil it, he clears it into row Z. His voice, he's proficient with the ball. He just gives a sense of calm in our defense, and probably enables Darcy Moore to be a better defender. That's what it seems like. That's the reality. Darcy Moore, independently, maybe not a great defender. Darcy Moore with the right team around him becomes a great defender. So, and Jeremy Howe is a massive piece of that puzzle. It does talk to how this key defender shortage has been an issue all year. And maybe the Band-Aid was Billy Frampton. Billy Band-Aid, I used to call him last year. If anyone remembers that, Billy Band-Aid. He's been more than a Band-Aid, to be fair to him. He's been a great defender this year. But there is that need to... There is still a need for an extra key defender, which is why that Jack Silvani inquiry is so enticing to us Collingwood fans. And then Reef McInnes comes back into the picture at some point next year. What he can bring to the club, Reef McInnes, still unsure. He was still trying to prove what he could be. But the ACL injury could be a blessing in disguise for Reef, because he's very skinny, but he's putting on size. And to have 6 to 12 months where you are not solely focusing, but you can put a whole lot more focus into the work into the gym, is huge. Huge, especially for that key size. Yeah, there's a couple more. Jeremy Howe's important. There's a few Darcy Moore liabilities, no confidence, needs to mark tighter. There's a lot of that. So we've spoken about Houston. This one's interesting. What do you guys think about this one? So this is from Igor Pasichniak. He says, Triple M strike confidence into key defenders and provide no outlet. Triple M strike confidence into key defenders and provide no outlet. I think that's an overreaction. I think Membry and Myercheck have been great this year. I think McStay's had some good games. He can go missing at times. What do you guys feel like feel, or how do you feel about McStay playing in 3 different positions over the course of the game? That I know we're a system-based team and versatility is a linchpin in our club. Linchpin in our club. But is that overdoing it? Is putting Oleg Markov in the forward line when he plays there sparingly, he plays in the forward line. But to have this amount of versatility, is it too much? Are we too trigger happy with the positional adjustments? It's not something I have questioned yet, but just thinking about what we saw yesterday, McStay playing in 3 different positions, having Oleg Markov play in the forward line, Josh Dacos playing in the midfield a little bit more now. How many players can you throw around without upsetting the apple cart? That's the question we need to answer. So I'm all for the versatility, and it's great. But there is a world where you overdo it and it affects players' games. So that's one of my concerns with the overuse of our versatility across the side. Peter L01 says Tom Mitchell in the midfield instead of Long. He's too one-dimensional. All right. So remember how I said that if I say something before a game and then the game happens, I don't change my angle on my initial opinion going into the game, what I would want to see in the game. So for example, I said before this game, leading to all week, I saw Tom Mitchell dropped 30 touches, coaches' votes, and the rest. Going into the game, I was not saying Tom Mitchell should be playing instead of Ned Long. I was saying, okay, he's been dropped. Ned Long, this is your spot to lose now. You're going to be in the spotlight on Saturday night. And then from there, we're going to judge you accordingly. I don't like it when people go into the match preview portion of the week and they say, all right, Tom Mitchell's been dropped, makes sense. Ned Long's our guy. Ned Long has a shocker. I hate it when people switch up and go, oh, fuck, Tom Mitchell should have played. They're like, it's the wrong call. I don't agree with that. I don't think Fly messed up there. I think Fly had to do that. We had to honour Ned Long's prolonged effort, good effort this season. He was consistent for the most part of the year. So, yeah. That's that. Now that we've seen Ned Long be a little bit underwhelming for more than the last 4 to 6 weeks have been kind of short for Ned. So with the exclamation point being the game against Brisbane last night, Tom Mitchell being rested, not playing in the VFL, I think you only have to assume he plays against Hawthorn, Tom Mitchell. Is there a world where we see Ned Long and Tom Mitchell on the same side on Thursday? I'd say there's a 5% chance of that happening, just to ensure that we have the balance in the midfield. Lachlan McKinnon says McRae needs to start putting our best team on the park. And that all ties into what we've been talking about all week. I feel like Billy Frampton should have been out there. Seeing Bobby Hill as a sub surprised me. I would have been happy with Jordan De Goey being the sub, although he played well. But if you got Geordie in the middle, put Bobby in a forward line, Markov sub, that seemed like the logical option. Maybe Fly was overly confident in our system, that he thought, all right, well, Markov can play this role in the forward line and that will get us over the line, along with a string of other things that need to happen in the game. So there's that as well. I'm sure people are questioning, well, yeah, the system is the system, but how many pivotal players in that system can you take out and throw in stopgaps and expect a better result than what we got last night? True? That's something that's been lingering in my mind since last night. Billy O says, we are cooked, peaked too early, too easy to score against, can't score ourselves. At times we have struggled to score over the last 4 weeks. Fair enough, I'll cop that. Have we peaked too early? I'm not into the hyperboles of this. Guy, as much as we're bickering, and that's what this is a natural cycle of sport. When you win, things are good. When you lose, things aren't great. But I might segue that into the next one. Where is it? Here. It's here somewhere. It's from Maverick Buckley 005. It's never as good as it seems, but also never as bad as it seems. Big ins over the next 2 weeks. So I like segueing or tying that into the Billy O comment about how we peaked too early. I think Brisbane the week before got pumped by Gold Coast. 60 points, wasn't it? No need to overreact. We have a chance to respond next week. I'm not saying we aren't staring down the barrel of potentially not being a top 2, top 4 side. Like, the reality is we have to win at least 2 of our next 3 games to put us in the best position going into this final series. I can see that. But let's just understand that if that's our worst game outside of GWS and we only lose by what was it, 4 goals in the end? Could have it been a little bit more? Sure. But our worst games aren't that bad. So if that's our worst game and we can rebound from that and beat Hawthorn, I think things will be looking a lot better going into the game against Adelaide, especially when you can only think that Jeremy Howe and Billy Frampton will be back in the ones against Hawthorn, and then hopefully Beau McCreary in Adelaide. All right. Exactly, Voidoid. Fate is in our hands. Let's see if there's anyone else who has a unique opinion in this Instagram fan takeaway. Beating that selection table, which was the topic of the title and thumbnail of this fan takeaways live stream, but we've pretty much dived into that, so I won't batter that anymore. A good fan takeaway was JDG being back. So at the game, guys, I thought Jordan De Goey did well. Kicked a really good goal. Had some nice little 1%ers through the middle with that tap to Patrick Lipinski. Lipinski hits Bobby Hill, Nick Dacos on the chest in the forward line. We kick a goal. De Goey had 12 odd touches. Don't think that De Goey is this defensive two-way runner in the midfield. He's never been that. So I won't cop people saying, oh, he doesn't run, he doesn't defend. That is just Jordan De Goey. There is a baseline expectation for him to defend to a certain level, but it's just the way it is with De Goey. We're gonna, if he's on the field, if he's in the midfield, especially in the condition that he's probably in now, we are going to have to compensate, and that's something we've always done. That's what Richmond did for Dustin Martin. That's what we needed to do for De Goey. So what do you guys think? Were you happy to see Jordan De Goey back? Were you satisfied with his performance? Yeah, a lot of people were just really disappointed. I'll read out a couple that I won't dive into, but I'll let you hear it. One from its_para_ frustration beyond measure. We didn't want it, and the Lions did. To be fair, I think we all feel pretty bloody frustrated, don't we? They suffocated us, and that's what it felt like. Maddie JDL CRZ says not up for finals with a game style like that, which is what we talked about earlier. Just too much over dependence on long down the line. Going back to the Dan Houston chat, it's funny because I told you at training, it seemed like we were getting the ball in Dan Houston's hands as much as possible. But I also said later in the week, I said, well, Fly McRae says that this week. Was it after the game against Richmond or early in the training week? He says, we got to get the ball in Houston's hands. So that's in the front of my mind. And then I go to training on the Wednesday and I see Dan Houston getting a lot of the ball. Is it confirmation bias? Is that me looking for the bias or the view that I was hoping for? Or is that just Houston getting the ball all the time in training as it has been all year? Could it be that? So that's just curious with the psychology of it all, going to training. And I say this because he plays against Brisbane and I'm thinking he's going to get 25 touches and he has a stinker defensively and with the ball wasn't daring enough. I'm really, really keen to hear from players, coaches this week, just to see where their head's at. What are the admissions? Were there any player interviews? I know you guys are saying there was a Darcy Moore interview. I'm just looking at the Collingwood website. Were there any player interviews after this game? It was an open discussion. So there was an Isaac Quaynor one. Should we listen to Isaac Quaynor and see if there's any substance in the conversation? Want to listen to Isaac Quaynor post-game interview. It's like a 2-minute interview. Here. I'll put a poll and then we can have a listen. Let's hear what does he have any substance? Are there any admissions? I know it was a sensitive subject last night, but Dean has to go. Nick, go back to the start of this stream and yeah, we definitely addressed it. Pressure was way too high in our defensive smalls. Yeah, fuck. How good was, for me, I was really happy with Braden Maynard's game, Isaac Quaynor's game, Perryman. They can walk out of that game standing tall. Talk about his aftershave. All right, let's have a listen to... Are we here? All right, let's have a listen then. There's only one player interview. Normally there's a couple more, isn't there? Would have thought.
Gambling ads are priming kids to start betting as soon as they're old enough. Prepare your kids for the future by talking to them.
Can you guys hear?
About how gambling really works and who really wins.
Let me know if you guys can hear.
Talk to your kids today. Love the game, not the odds.
Clearly not the way we wanted that one to play out. Where do you think it was lost tonight?
I think firstly you got to tip your hat to the opposition. They played a pretty impressive game style. They were kicking well in front of goals, and we probably just strayed away from a few of the things that make us, a really strong team. And
just to that point, he's right there. He has to highlight that, the fact that Brisbane were on in every facet of the game. Their handball connection was there. Their kicking was there. All their 1%ers, their knock-ons, their chaos footy went their way. They converted in front of goal. When we kicked goals, they responded. So I can accept that from Aftershave Man himself.
We'll review it and we go again in 5 days. So I'm excited for it.
Just coming out of the team meeting, what was the message from the coaches, but also what was discussed as a group in there?
It's probably more so just an open discussion about, some things that we might think that we can improve on. So it was just an open discussion, and Fly kind of gave us the control of the meeting, and there was some good discussions in there, and I'm sure we'll take it into the next game.
As a leader,
I'd love to know what those discussions are. Just a little bit of insight. I know it's something they're going to keep internally, but I know I'm wishing for something we're probably not going to get insight on until it's all said and done, but it would be nice. Unless this interview asks a hard-pressing question, but being in the four walls, this guy who's interviewing Q and working for the club, he does have to protect the players. He's not going to ask those questions that other polarizing journos would.
Message to the broader group.
Yeah.
As a leader, what is your message to the broader group?
We're still doing a lot right. Like, we're playing really strong teams who are trying to take things away from us, and it's just an opportunity to evolve. So,
I like that because I asked the question, right? We're getting too complacent and comfortable with the long down the line type of game, and I think Brisbane did that with first and foremost with their ascendancy in the middle, setting up their own forward half game, clogging us up and not allowing us to move the ball. When we tried to move fast, they just got in the way. And when we tried to play long, they set up well for that as well. So I think Q is hinting at that. I'll play it back by a few seconds.
Trying to take things away from us, and it's just an opportunity to evolve. So it's going to hold us in good stead down the track.
A couple of positives.
You know what I like about this interview, guys, and there's not a lot you can get out of these interviews at times, but you can just see the look in Q's face. He does feel the hurt. You can tell. He might not say things that suggest that, but you can just tell in his body language he's flat, and he's taking this quite personally, which I like. That's how I see his facial emotions right now, anyways.
Tonight was the return of Bobby and Geordie. Must be really special to not only see them back out there, but see them impact.
That was half a smile for Geordie and Bobby. That's how. Look at that. Come on. You can't tell me this guy. Hold on. Let me do something for you. This is good. You can't tell me this guy is a happy man right now. He's rattled. Look at that. Look at that face after being asked about Geordie and Bobby and tell me he's not hurting. So that gives me confidence that this guy's got a bit of grunt in him. He might have all the TikToks and the cologne stuff, but when it comes to the game in 2025, 2024 it's a little bit different, but you like to see that. He was one of the guys who had all the fight in him last night.
Geordie must be really special to not only
down the track.
A couple of positives from tonight was the return of Bobby and Geordie. Must be really special to not only see them back out there, but see them impacting the scoreboard as well.
Yeah, definitely. I was about to say, it's good to see them both kick a goal. I'm pretty sure every single player got to both of them when they did, and we know how good and important those players are to us, so it was great to see both of them back.
You mentioned looking ahead to Thursday, it's going to be a pretty special night for the club. Still side bottom, set to play his 350th game for Collingwood. Obviously it'll be a big week celebrating him, but what will be the focus on the track as well?
Honestly, I think it'll be all steel, as it should be. He's been an absolute...
Some of you guys are assuming that I'm saying that he's not happy that Geordie De Go and Bobby Hill are there. That's not my point. You're missing the point. My point is that half a smile that he had when the interviewer asked about Geordie and Bobby tells me he found it hard to smile, even though he is happy for Geordie and Bobby because of the result of the game and the way it played out. So it's more about how Q is feeling rather than how he feels about JDG and Bobby. That's what I'm saying.
Legend of the club. I grew up watching him as a kid, so I'll be honoured to kind of...
on the track as well.
Honestly, I think it'll be all steel, as it should be. He's been an absolute legend of the club. I grew up watching him as a kid, so I'll be honoured to kind of run out next to him. But I guess we'll take a lot of the learnings from this game around both our offence and defence and try and apply them against the Hawks.
And lastly, the Magpie Army packed out the G tonight. It was over 83,000 people, the biggest home and away crowd between Collingwood and Brisbane of all time. What's your message to that incredible army?
Man, it's pretty awesome to be part of, and it's awesome to play in front of. Even when we are down, I feel like they're kind of the energy whips for us at times, and we really appreciate you and keep turning up.
And so we're on to Sidebottom's 350th. If you ever needed extra motivation going into a crunch game, there you go. Let's just sprinkle in Sidey 350. So we got Pendle's 400 done last year. Let's get Sidey 350 done. Hey, how did we go in Pendle's 350th game? Let's have a look. If someone can beat me to the mark, I'll try beat you guys. But if you can beat me to the mark, have a crack. Scott Pendlebury. I don't remember it, but some of you might remember it. Pendlebury. Oh God, I'm fucking cooking up my typing. Come on. Scott Pendlebury. 350. Where are you? He played his 350th in 2022 against Adelaide, and we won. Yes, we won. That was that Nick Dacos game, wasn't it? Didn't Nick Dacos kick like 30-3 in Adelaide or something? Was that what it was? Benny, thanks for the 10, brother. Seen it and experienced it firsthand. Motivation and mental discipline to get to and stay at top as a collective especially is hard to maintain. We're getting smashed in training as well. It's a slog. Well, the good thing is it seems like that training block is done. The weather should get warmer and warmer now, so it's just all in now. It's now or never, like Nick says in the chat. All right, guys, I think I'm going to leave it at that tonight. What's the score in Carlton's game? I mean, does that do us any favors? Carlton beating Fremantle right now? That's pretty cool. Pretty handy. Anyhow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for joining us for the fan takeaways tonight. We'll see you tomorrow for Pies Presser. We'll probably be doing a predicted 23. It's a short week. So it's Monday tomorrow, and we'll be 3 days away from the game. So that's the positive in where we're at right now in the week. Thanks for sticking around, and as always, guys, go Pies.